It was one of the biggest bestsellers in years. Freakonomics, the book that takes a counterintuitive look at conventional wisdom, often upending our assumptions about the way we live. Now it is a movie. It just came out last night, in fact. Check out this preview.
When it comes to standardized tests, are the teachers cheating? Can DNA help clean America's streets? Is sumo wrestling rigged? These are some of the topics tackled in the increasingly popular study of
Freakonomics.
Freakonomics?
What is Freakonomics?
Exactly, what is it?
Steve's a world-class economist who uses economics, the study of economics, but applies it to the real world.
You're a detective.
That's a charitable way to describe what I do, but yeah, I love it. A data detective.
Economist Stephen Levitt and journalist Stephen Dubner collaborate. They dig through data, sift through studies, pore over pie charts until they find the real answers.
Does the amount of TV watched really matter in your child's educational progress?
And their answers,
look, 98% say it matters.
Almost always turn conventional wisdom on its head.
I hate to tell you this, but you're really wrong.
Freakonomics offers a fresh way of thinking about everyday issues.
I dare say economics can actually be fun.
Oh, that is so cool!
Cool and just a little freaky.
The new movie, which is very fun, I just watched it, it's broken up into segments, each one directed by a different documentary maker. Sorry, let me say that again. Each one directed by a different documentary filmmaker. With us now, two of those filmmakers, Alex Gibney, whose work includes Enron, The Smartest Guys in the Room. He also won an Oscar for his last documentary, Taxi to the Dark Side, and Rachel Grady, who co-directed Jesus Camp. Thank you very much for coming in, both of you.
Great to be here.
My pleasure.
So let me pick on you first, Alex, just because you won an Oscar.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Do it.
Yeah.
I want to show a clip. You did something about sumo wrestling in Japan. The question being, is it rigged? Let's start with a clip from that part of the movie.
A rikishi entering a tournament's final 15th match with a 7-7 record has far more to gain from a victory than an opponent with a record of, say, 8-6 has to lose. If a wrestler has 8 wins under his belt, he is guaranteed to advance, even if he loses that last match, so he can afford to take a fall.
So when you watch sumo wrestling, it's very hard when you're watching it to see if somebody's cheating.
How would you ever know?
I would never be able to know. So you use data to figure it out. How exactly did you do that? Or the Freakonomics guys?
The Freakonomics guys, what they did as kind of detectives was they looked at matches. Each sort of match is, or each tournament is 15 matches. And if you have a winning record, if you win 8, you make a lot of money. If you have a losing record, you don't. You drop way down. What they looked at in particular was people who are on the bubble. So if you're 8-6 and you're going up against a wrestler who's 7-7, what they found was you think they would be about even, but actually in that case, the 7-7 wrestler won almost always.
So the 8-6 guy is throwing it
to the 7-7 guy. So the 7-7 guy gets a winning record, gets a lot more money, and then what they looked at is the next time they met, the guy who won loses and vice versa. Meaning, and statistically, there's no way to account for it because they would otherwise be very even, but they were winning like 80% of the time when they should have been even.
So is money changing hands here?
Money was changing hands, but money in a sense didn't necessarily need to change hands because if they had a winning record, they were going to make a lot more money. And if they had a losing record, they were going to make a lot less.
So you use this to sort of make some grander statements about corruption generally.
That's right. And one of the things that interested me was that in sumo in particular, you know, there's a very great illusion of purity. It goes back to the Shinto in Japan. There's also the purification rituals in the wrestling. But it's the idea that purity itself was a kind of a mask for corruption. It blinds us to it. It's a little bit like Bernie Madoff. You know, the numbers were telling everybody that Bernie Madoff was a crook, but nobody wanted to believe it because he was known as a very respectable character. So just like in sumo, the purity kind of blinded everybody to the corruption.
Right. So let me pick on you now, Rachel, because your part of the movie had to do with whether paying kids to get better grades actually works. Let's just show a quick clip.
Oh my God! This is awesome! Oh yes, yes. You are getting straight A's from me. Yes.
They say money doesn't buy happiness, and I agree, but I disagree. It depends on how you look at it.
Because when they say money can't buy happiness, they saying material things cannot make a person happy. Wanna bet?
All right, so this is part of an experiment that was carried out in Chicago. What was the experiment?
The experiment was the University of Chicago, and Stephen Levitt kind of led it. They were paying a random assortment of ninth graders cash to improve their grades. So it was incentivizing kids to
do better.
To do better.
And did it work?
Mixed results. Mixed results. I mean, it didn't work great. It worked a little bit. But I think that they found that incentives do work. I think it's a matter of finding the right incentive for that particular age group.
So now the incentive here was $50. Is the conclusion that was drawn that maybe they need to up it to $100, $150?
Well, they kind of discussed if it needed to be more money, if it needed to be something else. And I think their conclusion was actually that it wasn't the amount, it was the age. And that they should start younger. And that at that age, at ninth grade, 15, 14 years old, that pure acceptance sort of trumps everything. So they're fighting against that. So it's not even about the money. They have to figure out a way really to make getting good grades cool, I think. And that would trump any kind of incentive they could ever give the kids.
So a Hummer ride may not do it.
Didn't cut it.
Right, so there are actually really important lessons to be learned on this one going forward, I can imagine. Rachel and Alex, thank you very much. Great movie. I really enjoyed watching it. And thank you for getting up early with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.